with Marcus Head.
So, everyone, thanks again for another episode of the Good Head Podcast Show. I'm really excited today because the reason why I do this podcast is I get to meet incredible people, but I also get to meet people that are very passionate. And what I really love about this interview is not only is this guest a person that has created a platform for herself, but she's also created a platform for people that are passionate about achieving their goals. And she has created and is the founder of the Gill Talent Group, which is a talent agency. She's a producer, she's a writer, she's an author, and she also has a couple of films that past and future that's coming out. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Patti Gill. How are you today, Patti?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. So, first and foremost, I want to talk about the general idea of where the talent agency came from and when it was just a thought in your imagination, and how did it actually become a reality?
Well, I'm from Chicago. I've been living in Atlanta for 6 years, and I have 4 children, all of which have done some modeling and commercial work, particularly my first two. Actually, my first three. I've actually done quite a few commercials and some modeling work. And so she's 23 now. So I used to go, and they were signed to Stewart and Ford, and I used to go to the auditions. They used to book a lot, and it kind of threw me in that world of that. Now I'm also friends with quite a few producers that I used to pitch ideas and things of that sort. So I wasn't necessarily foreign to the life of entertainment. And it was a mother of one of the little girls that was in a Ford commercial with my daughter, who was trying to start an agency. And at the time, I had just closed my clinic because I had a clinic in Oak Forest, and I was trying to figure out what my next, because I'm an entrepreneur, and I was trying to figure out what my next move was going to be. But I literally was praying to God that God put me in the place that you want me to be, and not just for money. Because you become a certain age, it's like you want to really enjoy and be passionate about what you're doing, not just for a check. And so she caught me at a good time. And I said, sure, because I really wasn't doing anything. So, and starting a business is very second nature to me. So that's nothing. So a lot of times people are, and which I had to learn, people are intimidated, or honestly just they don't feel like they can do it, when that's just like breathing to me, is starting a business. So she ended up pairing me up with this other woman that I didn't know. We partnered up. We started an agency in Chicago. It didn't, we broke up. She started her own agency. I started mine. And then I started my second office in Atlanta. And now we have an office in New York and LA. And I have beautiful Black women that lead every office in each city.
Wow, that's incredible. So, not only did you take an idea, but you're actually a mogul at it. You have some of the biggest, four of the biggest cities where actually talent is needed and where filming is being done. And especially with Atlanta. Atlanta, can you tell me how Atlanta has grown and everyone's calling it the new Black Hollywood and everything? So tell me, because I know you live in Atlanta and you have four different areas. So why is Atlanta your home base? And tell us about the way the market has changed for films, in particular Black films.
Well, I think that the time that I moved to Atlanta is I came for one, I was sick of the weather in Chicago. I couldn't do it anymore. My skin was gray. So I was like, I need something different. And so toyed with the idea of moving to Atlanta for years, right? And so Roger Bob, who's a big producer director here in Atlanta, we shared an attorney, and he happened to Randy Crumpton, bless his soul. He passed during COVID, and he connected us, and Roger said he had some offices that he really wasn't using, and if I wanted to, we can open the office there. And that's how it started. So he blessed me by letting us use his office initially here in Atlanta. And what a lot of people don't know is this is kind of like the hub for BET, TV One, All Black, all those Black networks and production companies. All of them, this is kind of like their home, right? So, so you add that that separates it automatically from the other regions, right? So that's one of the things. Not saying that those networks don't produce movies in Chicago, because they do. I mean, like there's a Chris Nolan that I know. A lot of his stuff goes straight to BET in Chicago, but a lot of those producers and everything, like Swirl and a lot of the production companies here in Atlanta, they're home based here. And Atlanta is a different type of city, as it's always been. It's always been a pioneer and always moving the needle for people of color. It's always been that. So it's only right that when production came here into Atlanta, that they kind of took off running with that. And so you add that along with the price it costs to shoot things here opposed to New York or even Chicago. The tax credits, they encourage it a lot. It's the energy here in Atlanta is very collaborative. You know, just from growing up in Chicago, Chicago's like the mafia city. You know what I mean? Like, this my turf. You can't come on my turf. This is a gang city, right? I
Yeah,
grew
I'm
up on
born and
69th.
raised, so I got you.
Yeah, so I grew up on 69th and Walcott, right? So you live on that block, you can't go on the other block if it's something else, correct? That energy lends itself to entrepreneurship too, right? To businesses. And so it's very territorial. And so what you find is that kind of goes into even the filmmaking. I think it's a difference. I think it's slowly evolving, but I have not experienced that in Atlanta. It's very collaborative. They want to know, what are you doing? Okay, let me get your number. Let's see if we now you have to vet them and make sure it's your cup of tea. It may not be your cup of tea, but if you find your tribe, you can really thrive here. And that's why a lot of people of color have thrived here, because they're always looking to connect with someone to build.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, yeah, I know about getting away from the cold. Like I said, I lived in Chicago, then I moved to Atlanta. I live in Florida right now. I'm actually moving back to Atlanta because my film career is going so well. So we're here with the talented producer, talent agency, Patti Gill. So what all in your talent group do you have? Is it actors, writers, musicians?
Well, see, this is the thing. I'm a union franchise agency, and we represent actors, but a lot of our actors are also producers, right? And but because we are producers, we're creatives, so we're always our thing is create, don't wait, right? So we're not just waiting for you to get booked. We're like, it's so easy now. Like, if you got a crew, get your crew. They got cameras. Don't let somebody be in school. Or, I have a client, Jordan Wallace. Shout out to him. He just booked Law and Order yesterday. He's out of Chicago, and he went to DePaul. A lot of times, these film students, they can use the equipment for free. So there's no excuse for you not to be able to do a movie, do a short, all those things. And so we encourage those things, which I know other agencies, not doing any comparison, they don't do that, because they're only thinking, we have to submit you to these projects and get you work, and that's it. We're like, you can't wait on, whether it's Tyler Perry or Lionsgate, you can't wait on them to need your look for that particular thing. So work begets work.
That's a
So
good
you
point. I
can't
love
just,
that.
yeah, you just can't sit there and wait for it. So we've always encouraged that, and we just found ourselves repping producers and directors and things of that sort. But we're not necessarily putting up a sign saying we're looking for writers, or just a lot of our actors are creatives.
So, in addition to your talent group that you have, you're also a producer and you have a project recently that you filmed, and it had a lot to do with your heritage called Black Korea. Can you tell us about that?
Well, that was you know what? This is before I even started the agency. I'd started a blog called My Soul Food, SEOUL, and that was just my own personal journey. That was a therapeutic journey, because I'm a product of my father, who was in the military. He's Black, and my mother, who was an immigrant Korean woman. And they had me and my brother. We came over to the States, and it was an abusive relationship, and that was in New Orleans. And so my mother brought me up with my Black father, and my grandmother raised me on 69th and Walcott. when I was 13. And so putting all those pieces together, literally when I was growing up, I always felt like I was in a movie because it's like it was unbelievable the things that I was experiencing and going through. And so it was like creative therapy for me, where I ended up writing this short, and we ended up producing it, and it did very, very well in the festivals. And I'm still toying with it and trying to figure out what direction I want to go in, which I think it may be a series. But we won University of Illinois. No, University of Chicago. They hosted us for the premiere in Chicago and flew everyone out. And that happened on a couple of occasions. We won Martha's Vineyard Festival. We won the Bronzelands Festival. So we won quite a bit of festivals, and it's a topic you've never seen before as far as like the black and Asian, because it's very, very common in our culture in this country, but it's never really been talked about on screen.
Right, and you had a young lady who's an incredible actress that you had on there, and I believe she played the grandmother. I'm sorry.
Oh, Erica Watson, who was a gem of Chicago. Yeah, I was representing her at the time when she shot it. And when I first signed Erica, and she had just moved back to Chicago from New York, I remember saying, if I do a movie on my life, you're going to play my grandmother. I told her that. And
Right.
so what
She
it
didn't believe it. She didn't believe it.
until 3 years later, and she did. And so that was her first, I want to say her first and only leading role before she passed. God bless her soul. And so I'm blessed to even fulfill that with her. Yes, and so that's the beauty of even having this platform, and to be able to fulfill everybody else's um, goals at the same time as fulfilling yours as well. So it's very fulfilling. I know I've found the right place in life because I'm following my passion, which is blessing other people.
Excellent. So let me ask you a question, because I know you're very passionate, and I've seen a lot of your interviews. For people that are looking for talent, for people that are directors, producers, what is the first thing that you are looking for before you sign your talent?
You know what? The posture, because I think a lot of actors, a lot of them just are somewhat ignorant, especially one of color. They don't understand in this business. Like, people have been doing it for years. When you see an overnight success, they've probably been acting for 20 years, and we're just seeing them, and I don't think that they understand that. So when they come to me, and you could tell they're green by saying, okay, I always wanted to act. Okay, so sign me up. So that's typically who I'm not signing, right? But if you're coming and you need someone to be on your team, because it's a team effort. So I don't necessarily work for you. We work with each other, right? Because I'm a union franchise. I'll only get 10%, right? So the person that's getting 90%, who should be doing most of the work? Yeah. So, getting 10% is great, especially if the check is big, but I'm honestly, I'm working for free until you book. So all those auditions that you're getting, and you're not booking, we're just working, working, working until something hits, right? And so if you're not taking it serious and not really honing your crafts, and taking your audition serious, and your look, and you're maybe even unrealistic on what you look like, all those things, those are typically the ones that I'm not going to be representing, because it's like pulling teeth, helping you help me, you know or helping me help you, and so someone who's very aware and conscious of themselves, their talent, maybe even their shortcomings, those are the ones I can work with, because we could be honest with one another and grow.
Excellent, excellent. So also I want to ask you, you have a new project coming out, and it's a person that I've recently is met that's involved in it, Miss Jasmine Lewis, and we also have Travis Oker. I hope I say his name right.
Cure. Mm-hmm.
Ocure. And the name of the project is Dating COVID. Can you tell us what that's about?
Well, we have our talent scout, Cassandra Bell, for Gill Talent, and she um, wrote this script, and she came to me after writing it and said, Patti, I just wrote this script. I really would like to bring it to life, and could you help me produce it? So I read it. We did a table read on it. And honestly, I just go by instincts. So there is no formula on if I say yes to something. It was just instinctive. And I was like, I kind of like this. I could do this. All right. So, and she was part of Gill Talent. So I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. And so we got the ball rolling from there. So there's a lot of Gill Talent inside the movie as well. The setting is Chicago, but we actually shot it in Atlanta because it was easier for me to shoot and produce this in Atlanta. And it's a beautiful film. And so the DP we grabbed from, his name is Jamal Scott. He's also, I met him when I was screening Black Korea, and he had just moved to Atlanta. He's also an actor. And so he's the DP, so he shot it. And then Angele Cooper directed it, and she's a client of a talent manager that I work with Gill Talent. So there are all type of connections with the film and the agency, and I'm excited about it.
What does it mean to you as a black woman who has a platform that, as you mentioned, all of the heads of your each city is a black woman? So, what does it mean to you to have a black woman in charge of such a prestigious situation?
You know how they say apple doesn't fall from the tree, or birds of a feather flock together. That's pretty much what it is. So I didn't go seek out. I honestly didn't seek this out. These are women that I've known prior to, women that I trusted, and women that you know, when you see a mirror of yourself, especially when you're in your 40s and 50s, those people that you're really close to, those are pretty much mirrors of who you are, right? We're just trying to figure out who we are, usually in your teens and your 20s, you know, and I think we've been able to excel and grow the way we have because of how phenomenal they are, and they're honestly a reflection of myself. So, you know, when they win, they make me look good. So I don't feel a need to ever compete, ever, you know. And so I definitely know we can go further together, and it's just like-minded women. And so it came very organically. It's nothing that you could even duplicate. You know, you could try and say, I'm gonna go get some boss women to run every whatever, and you see how that works out. That's wonderful, right? But these women that run these offices, we would have a drink if they weren't running the offices. We'd be out having a drink and dinner with each other, exchanging stories, talking about how we could help each other, regardless if we were agents or not. So I think that's a testament to the agency, and the clients feel that, right? So, and then I have Todd Rashawn. He's an educator, and so he does a Zoom class on self taping, because self taping is really big since the pandemic. People aren't going in person for auditions; they have to do self tape, but it's an art to self tape. And so he gives a free class to our clients every first Thursday. I know I'm getting the date wrong, but he does it once a month. The class sometimes have 100, 150 people in it. And he is a former actor and a vocal coach. And he's a wealth of information, but me and him, we ran the media team at a church that we both belonged to 10 years ago. You know, so I have ties to all these people, and it's a genuine relationship that I'm just blessed to have.
Now, how do you actually use social media, like as far as obtaining any clients? People come to you, people recommend, or do you have a team that kind of searches out for people?
No, we have when you go to our website, it gives you all the information on how to submit to us. And honestly, we're overwhelmed with the submissions. So we're never necessarily looking for talent, because we have a ton of submissions that we still haven't gone through yet, from just this year. And we do a lot of referral only. So a lot of the most recent actors that we've signed on came from recommendations from either teachers, producers, directors, or other clients.
Now, I ask this question to a lot of my guests because they're all movers and shakers, and I know what it's like. You run around, you're doing this. How important is health and sleep important to you, and how do you manage with your boys to make all this happen to where everything is getting done, but what you're still creating a longevity for your life, healthy and mentally?
I don't know. You tell me. No, that's a great question. I think that when I feel like I'm probably burnt out, I'll go and kind of be a zombie, and I'll throw on some reality TV or something, because I'm not really thinking hard when I'm watching that, and I'm just kind of watching it because it kind of keeps me. I still keep the pulse because a lot of that reality TV is in Atlanta, but I'll just maybe watch that. I'll read a book. I do audio books now. I just finished reading or listening to 50 Cent's last book that he did, his audio book. So that's my new hack now, because I never find the time to read it. But now I'm in the car a lot. I'll just throw on my audiobook and listen to it. I take the time out to do that. And I don't know how I do it. I mean, my girlfriend, one of my best friends, she was just visiting. She said, I don't understand how you're doing this. I don't get it. I'm like, yeah. But one thing I can say, I'm blessed to have my daughter, who's 23. She's in law school. She was a junior agent for the agency. And then I have another daughter, and she's at Grambling in her first year. They all understand their mother, and they all support me. So they don't necessarily try to guilt me if I'm busy, if I have to do whatever, because they know that this is helping them provide for their livelihood. My son, he's a senior. He's going to college, and he has his own company. He sells gym shoes and all this other stuff, but he's a business conscious person. And so when I'm working, I'm also teaching because he's asking me questions like, so Ken, is that a write-off? Do you do XYZ? Do you blah, blah, blah? So I think that's been a blessing because I've been able to incorporate my life. It's not separate from my family. For dating COVID, Legend, my son, was a PA. So he was running around bringing things to the set. And he was with my 13-year-old who was with him running around doing errands. So they don't necessarily feel alienated. And that's probably one way I've been able to mother, parent, and work, because they're kind of like part of my work, if that makes any sense.
That does. And I have 3 kids, so I definitely know. And the one thing that I'm really noticing about you, and the pattern I'm noticing about you, is everything is connected to a village. And everything is a building block, and you're building blocks not only for your family, but for other people. Just like you said, your daughter is in law school, and she's pretty much representing, I'm sure, things and advice for the family, which saves you a lot of time and money, before you actually, and I know about that. And just like I said, your kids, and one thing I really love and is very inspiring about you, and we're going to talk about this after we get off the air, if you have time, is you said that majority of your clients are producers and actors, so they have connections to not only to go find the work, but they can actually make the work. And I think that is a great testament to you of being a leader, of building that nest. And me being a director, I know exactly where you're coming from, where you're just trying to make everybody better. And then once they get to that certain level, because you created this platform, they're going to stay with you while they become mega superstars, like the Spike Lee thing where Halle Berry and Spike Lee and all them come back.
We hope so, and the fact that you're touching that, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet because we've been a lot of our clients' first agent, and they thought that having an agent was like having us, the accessibility. They text us, they whatever, we're doing one-on-ones, we're getting on a Zoom calls, doing touch base Tuesday with them, and a lot of times, they've gotten all this work and they get to the place where they want to be represented by the bigger agency. Honestly, they want to be represented by a white agency.
That is unfortunate. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, I know exactly. They feel like that's the only way that they're gonna get on the platform to success.
Yeah. They feel like they have a level of success, and that's just honestly, and I've fallen prey to that. I mean, it's just a level of self hate that we were taught from slavery, right? So it is what it is. And so I used to get very upset about that because I pour so much and I want the clients to win. And then when I see they're distancing themselves and they're like, yeah, well, so-and-so said they're willing to sign me. So, I think my season is up with you. And so you're like, that wasn't what I thought we were doing. I thought we were building, And so I've learned how to not take that personal, but
It's like a football analogy. You take a draft pick, and then when you take that draft pick, you develop the talent, and then when their contract is up, you want to re-sign them, but they want to go ahead and go for the team that's winning all the championships and things like that, basically.
Yeah, and so it takes a lot for the person. Like we had, right, Jonathan Slocum, wonderful talent. He's super talented. Brayley Evans, we just signed her. She's awesome, right? And
Really?
she has
Okay.
yep. So she has a management company. She also manages Jonathan. We went to the NAACP Awards last week, right? He's hosting it in between when you see Queen Latifah hosting it, and then when they go to commercial, he's hosting the audience, right? He knows we're in the audience. He's like, I'm so proud to be represented by all Black agency in all 4 cities, Gill Talent Group, giving us big shout out, right?
Big
Right?
platform, yes.
That's what I'm saying. So you're helping us. You're helping raise awareness about the agency. That's not going to do anything but help you, right?
Right.
As the talent.
Mm-hmm.
And so those clients I truly appreciate because they're proudly represented by Gill Talent. They know they're represented by a powerful group of women. And so that maybe not necessarily be the sentiment for all the clients, but in anything you do, you will not make everyone happy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's just life. And so I've learned that and not taking those type of things personal, you know. But
How long have you had this agency?
I guess 8 years.
8 years. And in 8 years, you have four,
Going on 9 years.
9 years. In 9 years, you have four different locations, and you're continuing to pick, like I said, you kind of pick who you want, and of course, with recommendations and things like that. And Tyler Perry is the golden standard for everything and everything and always, which shall be because who he is and everything else. What have you learned, or have you ever met Tyler Perry?
I haven't met him, but I work closely with his team. So I haven't met him personally, but I've met the people that are very close to him.
Right. When you
Um,
mentioned Roger Bob, I know him and Roger Bob have worked on a lot of
Well,
projects
yeah, he
together.
was running his, yeah. So I know Roger, I know Mark Temple, Mike Swinton, all the people that pretty much run TPS Studios, right? And so, but one of the things that I have learned from Tyler Perry, his journey, is that when it's not an understatement to say he built his own table because Hollywood had rejected him. They had made a mockery of him, and he continued on. And you honestly never heard him talking ill of anyone. He just kept working until he opened his studio and blew everyone away, right? And so that was such a great learning experience for me to see that because you just have to keep working. And if you're worried about what other people are going to talk about, people are so fickle, they will jump off the bandwagon and jump back on the bandwagon, right? They will drag you and then they will run your fan club. That's just people, right? And so you can't make choices based on what people are going to say about you or what they've said about you. You just have to keep on keeping on because time tells everything. And so he's a testament to that. And that honestly keeps me moving. Is like, yeah, we may not get credit today, but I'm not necessarily looking for credit from you. I know it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like the proof is in the pudding.
That's remarkable. So before we get you out of here, we thank you so much for your time. We're here with the Patti Gill, who has is doing it all. I mean, she's a boss. She's talent agent. She's a producer. She's a writer. She's a thinker. And you are a pioneer. You really are because you're paving a way and you're creating something new. And I know we have a lot of agencies, but one thing that I really love that I read about you is you said that every single one of your clients, you have to be passionate about what they're doing and who they are before you sign them. And I really love that because that shows that you don't want to just sign somebody because they're funny or because they can act. You want to sign somebody because you want to have a relationship with them. And that's what I kind of got from you. Yes. So before we get you out of here, we're going to have a little fun because I know you be having these serious conversations talking about the black career and everything else. So we're going to do some fun because you got to make you laugh a little bit. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So she put the glasses on. Look at her. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And I want you to give me just some one word answers or just answer the best of your knowledge. You ready?
Sure.
All right. So what is your favorite cereal?
Probably frosted mini wheats.
Frosted Mini. Okay. You went old school on me on that. Okay.
I don't really eat cereal, but if I do, it would probably be that.
Okay. So you have a concert you can go to. You have front row tickets to that concert. And you can only go to one person that's performing. One is in New York, one is in Chicago. Who would you go see? Michael Jackson or Prince?
Prince.
Prince. Why Prince?
I love Michael Jackson though, but I think Prince probably give more. I would have said Michael Jackson 10 years ago, but I guess I don't know, something sexy about Prince that I think I would appreciate right now.
Okay. All right. All right. So you're stranded on an island. You can't get off the island. Food does not have to be one of the things you can pick. But you have to pick three things. Remember, you can't get off the island, so don't ask for no plane or no pilot or nothing like that. But you can't get off the island. And you're on the island for the rest of your life. What are the three things that you have to have that make you happy, keep you sane on that island? Three things.
Three things. I would probably need a. Can I do a cabin? You know,
Okay.
House.
It's your three
Okay,
things.
no, I'm gonna say one thing: a furnished house.
Furnished house.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
you asked me to say. What three things you want? I want a furnished house on that island. I want solar electric to be attached
That's the first person that said that. That's creative. Okay.
to the house because I know I gotta be able to run the. I'm on an island, so I'm sure it's pretty sunny, right? And then the food is right there, so the fish is in the ocean, and then the fruit, and then the vegetables. So I have all the vegetation to.
But you don't have to pick food. Yeah, you don't have to pick
Yeah,
food.
and then I would say my family, but I wouldn't want to bring them on a stranded island because they may lose their mind. So it would definitely have to. It would probably be technology, so I could just zoom in and check on them during the Zoom. You
Okay.
know,
And the last question I have for you is, now that you've been 8 years in the game, and I know you've been, many years doing your business and creative thinking, what is the one thing you would have told yourself when you first started that you know now?
I don't have any regrets, but I laugh at myself on how I handled certain things when I was younger. And when I say younger, I mean maybe 5 years ago, because I was sweating things and I just worried about what other people would think and felt like I had to prove something to people, or I've never even been on the other side of like slander so much so until I became in this bit until I got into this business. So I realized how cutthroat it was, and so it has taught me now I just kind of like laugh at it when I hear it's you are who you attract, put it like that, right? Because if you're with positive people, you be careful of your village. That would be my thing, because any type of errors I probably made, like true errors in life that I made, is the people that I was attached to, right? And so I would say that, like, be careful of who you're attached to, because if you're attached to really good people and they want to see you win, they want to win, then a lot of the errors in life you won't necessarily even get there, right? Or you make the error and you keep it moving. But if you're attached to the wrong people, you can fall and you won't just scrape your knee, you'll bust your head and everything else if you're with the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? They'll do another push on the back of you when you fall.
Right.
And you
Okay. See, that's Chicago coming at you now. You coming in the screen now. I see it now.
you're like, how did my head get busted open? I just fell over a pebble. Yeah. So I would just say that I think being careful of the people that you're attached to, that absolutely has everything to do with your destiny.
And now, this is a personal question I wanted to ask you. And because I have kids, I'm in the business and everything else. When everything is said and done, and we're doing your eulogy, and your kids are older now to where they really understand, like we do now, being in our 40s and 50s, what is it that you wanted message received from your kids to know about all this hard work that you've done?
What do I want them to know about me?
What is there something where they say, I get it. I see why mom did all that. I see why mom worked. I see why mom pushed us. What is the one thing that you want your kids, not anybody in the business, but your
Yeah, that's my
kids?
children. That I wanted to leave the world and them better because of me. Yeah, that anything that you're attached to, hopefully you can walk, even if that person that you're leaving don't like you, but they're better because of you, right? And I can say that even my enemies are better because of me.
Wow. That's powerful. That is powerful. And on that note, before we get out of here, please let everyone know, and thank you so much for doing this. Please let everybody know where they can follow your talent agency and everything that's all related. And again, the two projects that you have past and present coming up.
You can follow us on all social media at Gill Talent, the @ Gill Talent. Whether it's we pretty much post on Instagram the most. We don't really do. I need to do more. I'm gonna have one of our interns start doing our TikToks because we really don't post there like we should. And then gilltalent.com is if you want to go and submit to the agency, and you'll find all the information there. And then on Instagram, typically on social media, Facebook, we'll post any upcoming open calls or anything that we're looking for, or if there's an event going on, we'll post there.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, my sister. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your knowledge. And you just keep doing what you're doing because you are inspiring. And like I said, you're a pioneer. You're going to get your Walk of Fame. If I have to create the Walk of Fame platform myself to have you put your fingers in that cement.
Hallelujah. I received that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.